Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, June 2nd, 2025. I am Dave Biddle. I'll be joined by Dan Rubin in just a moment. So Dan and I have a lot of family members that are recent high school graduates, maybe even college graduates. I have a recent high school grad. My niece recently graduated high school. They obviously have friends. So we've been going to a lot of grad parties. And as you guys might will not be surprised, we get a lot of people asking us a lot of questions about Ohio State football. And what question do we get asked the most? Is there one question, Dan and I both? Is it the same question? We have not compared notes. Dan came up with the idea for the show, which I thought was a good topic. So we're going to get into that, and we're going to answer your questions, the live audience. Before we do that, I'll let you guys know again about this huge wallet that I have here. Oh, wait a minute. There it is. There's my wallet, Ridge wallet. You know, you got your money clip back here. It holds up to 12 cards. It's like probably the coolest thing, that I have recently become a fan of. And you guys can get a great deal. I know a lot of you have already taken advantage of this. And it would make a perfect Father's Day gift. Father's Day is coming up. Ridge wallet would make a perfect Father's Day gift. And I'd get one for yourself, too, if you haven't already. Ridge wallets are ultra slim, sleek, and surprisingly spacious. Like I said, it holds up to 12 cards plus cash without turning your pockets into a lumpy mess. It slips right into your front pocket and practically disappears. As J-Book was saying, J-Book's a customer. He was saying on Friday's show, yeah, I mean, he loves it. He's like, but sometimes it gives him like a little panic. He's like, oh, I think I forgot my wallet. Oh, no, it's down there. It's just you're used to that George Costanza wallet with stuff flying everywhere. No, you don't need that. Right now, just in time for Father's Day, Ridge is having a huge sale. You can get up to 40% off at ridge.com/bucknuts, ridge.com/bucknuts to find the perfect gift for dad or yourself. When you check out, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Give dad the upgrade that he deserves this year. There you go. Bam. That's the question I get asked most at grad parties is, where did you get that wallet? Then it transitions into Ohio State football. Okay, I might get a little more questions about Ohio State football at grad parties, but Ridge wallet, a close second. What will happen with Michigan sanctions, a very close third. All right, Harry, let's bring in Dan. Good to see you on a Monday.
It's not, did you bring the cornbread hemp? That's not the question you get most at the parties.
They don't need to ask the question. They know that I have plenty. They that's just a given that I'm going to bring some cornbread hemp to the party. What's a grad party without cornbread hemp? I'm kidding. It's
not as fun.
It's 21 and over. It's 21 and over. But these grad parties tend to have alcohol for the parents anyway. Might as well have a little cornbread hemp, a healthy happy hour. Now we're mixing. We're mixing our sponsors. All right, so I have one that I get asked the most by far. I'm curious if it's the same one you have or not. You go first, and I'll go.
Yeah. So, like Dave said in the fine intro, it's been grad season aplenty. My son graduated from college, which isn't as Ohio State-y, but when you live in the Gem City, Ohio State is team number uno. And they do enough grad parties around this parts where they have an Excel spreadsheet set up so you can sign up for times. So it was a rigmarole. And I'll say this, yesterday I went to my final grad party, but on Saturday I was fortunate to go to one where it was hosted by one of my younger son's buddies, who he tied senior superlative most athletic, but I digress. He was having the party with his cousin. Both are from mean streets, one Oakwood, one Bellbrook.
Oh, boy.
And
Especially
his
Oakwood.
cousin had just gotten confirmation that he will be a preferred walk-on at the Ohio State University for football. Gavin Toby. I think right now they list him as a safety. He's about 6'3", 180. And I told him, get the before and after shots. He's a great athlete. He's kind of skinny. I said, get with Mick, give us some before and after shots, do the Josh Perry thing, and he's going to come back looking like I said, I think you're going to be a 6'3", 215-pound outside linebacker special teams demon. But you want to see a family and a group of people get excited about something. Have someone, have the honoree of the party commit to Ohio State within 24 hours. So All the family members were wearing jerseys. I saw a few basketball jerseys thrown in there for the people who couldn't get a football one quickly enough. So it was great stuff. So that's always wonderful. But yes, Dave, I came up with this because there's a theme. There is a theme, and it is this. Do you really think Julian Sayin can be the quarterback? And it's usually like this. They'll talk, they'll say something nice, and they'll kind of lean over to me. Sayin, though, dude, you really think they can do this with Sayin? Like, I'm going to give them the secret, like I know better than Ryan Day. And I say the same thing every time. I trust in Ryan Day now. You've been granted the benefit of the doubt for your coach, which is tremendous. You can also trust in a guy I like to call Tricky Nick Saban, who had Julian set up as his quarterback of the future. And I also think I saw enough in the spring game, just in the zip in his arm, that I feel like it's going to work out. And Dave, like I said before, when in doubt, throw it to number 4. If number 4 doesn't lead the nation in targets or isn't close, we are not doing it right. There's one thing to throw a guy in there, as we've talked about, with a rookie center maybe or an inexperienced offensive line. Not the case. Not the case at all. Veteran center, the best wide receivers in the country, no argument. Maybe not as experienced running backs, but I think most colleges, most programs would be very happy with a Peoples-Donaldson combo. You've got depth at tight end. You've got, coaches who have proven they can win the national championship. I guess there's a little bit of doubt about replacing good old Chip Kelly, but that is not, when I think about Ohio State and I get like, that's not what comes to my mind at all. There's a big gap between where you have to be the best and where you have to be a championship quarterback. He doesn't have to come through here and be, Drew Brees in his last year at Purdue. That's not what we're asking here. He's just got to distribute. And I don't think the powers that be would let the program head into a season with so much on the line, which will be every season now, without a guy that really thought they could get it done. So I've also seen Julian Sayin in person, so I don't have the fear that he's 5'11", that people, he's easily 6'1", and he's almost the exact same size as my son. So I can tell you, I've seen him in a physical 6'1", barefoot, probably somewhere in there, plenty big enough to play quarterback, great arm. So yeah, that's it. By the way, I got asked this. Not only did I get asked at a party, and I forgive dude for forgetting his name, but I was walking to the bathroom at our graduation dinner. I come out and someone says, Dan. And I'm like, looking around, I don't say anyone I know. 2 fans there, 2 nutters. And so we talked about that, and that was it. All positive, and then I'm only worried about Sayin. So I quelled their fears a little bit, told them to throw it to number 4 and walked away. But definitely, without question, the number one concern among the peeps is, will the quarterback be able to get it done?
No doubt about it. We have the same question posed to us the most. I get so many questions asked about Julian Sayin. And it's never really, do you think Lincoln Kienholz might beat him out? It's just people are, at these grad parties, so it's not a huge sample size, but, decent amount of people. So it's not an extremely small sample.
And real fans, Dave. Those are Columbus people.
No doubt about it. These are people that love Ohio State football, and they're pretty convinced that Julian Sayin is going to be the starter, that he'll eventually be good. But it's like, when is he going to be good? We're leading off the season against Texas. I would submit that Texas has that same issue. Everybody acts like Arch Manning is Peyton Manning. It's like,
don't get it.
Okay, as a second-year player, he couldn't beat out Quinn Ewers, who was a 7th-round pick. Not that that's an end-all be-all. I'm just pointing that out. Arch Manning, I keep saying, if his name was Arch Peterson or something, I don't know what would be thinking about him. And rightfully so. I mean, everybody in the Manning family has been a really good quarterback, including his dad, until Cooper got hurt. Obviously, we know about Archie and Peyton and Eli. So I get it. Having that family with you is going to make you a better quarterback, but still, is he really that good? But anyway, getting back to the questions I get asked, it's very similar to what you're saying. It's kind of like, it's nothing negative, like, what? Who is this guy? Like, how was he at 5 starts? Not that. People can see the quick release, the accuracy. They are concerned about the height. I tell them that's not a huge. Now he's not 6'3", 6'4", but the idea that he's like 6 foot even. No, he's not. No, he's every bit of at least 6'1". He says he's 6'2", had a little bit of a growth spurt. I think in shoes, he's definitely closer to 6'2" than 6'1", but he's definitely not anywhere close to under 6'1". There's no doubt about that. It's just one of those things that some people will talk about. Well, I've even talked about this. I've said he looks like Timothy Chalamet, and people don't like, you even kind of said, like, can we get him to look like, maybe someone a little more gritty, I think you've been threw a name out there. So people think like, oh, geez, this kid, he looks like he's like 16 years old. I'm like, okay, he's starting to bulk up. He was just 18 years old last year. I'm not really concerned about the fact that he looks a little bit like Timothy Chalamet. That's not something I'm concerned about. One more thing here. I'll say one more thing. Can we give Ryan? We said a lot after the national championship, still basking that okay. Can we now trust what Ryan Day is doing? Not if we weren't. I think a lot of us were already, and maybe some of us didn't trust everything or trust most of what Ryan Day did. I think winning the national championship, I think a lot of us had the attitude, can we just trust Ryan Day to give him the benefit of the doubt? One thing I've always given him the benefit of the doubt was his quarterbacks. I mean, look at what he's done. Even when he was an OC here, look at what he did. J.T. Barrett was a different quarterback in 2017. That Penn State game, he turned into Joe Montana. Ryan Day had to help with that. J.T. Barrett was definitely a better passer in that 2017 season. Look what he did with Dwayne Haskins. Justin Fields came here like, well, people are like, oh, he's just a runner. He can't throw. 2 very good years of throwing the football. C.J. Stroud was decent. And I laugh, Dan, when people say, oh, Kyle McCord left Ohio State and had a better year at Syracuse. Yeah, if you just look at attempt, he led the nation in attempts and led the nation in yards because he led the nation in attempts by a wide margin. If you look at things like touchdown to interception ratio, quarterback rating, things that coaches actually care about, the advanced metrics, he had a better year at Ohio State than he did at Syracuse. A lot less interceptions, a lot less passing attempts, higher completion percentage. So even with Kyle McCord actually had a decent year, even though I was not a big fan. And then this past year, Will Howard comes here. Nobody thinks anything of Will Howard. Oh, he got beat out a couple times at Kansas State. Is he really going to be anything? And he was good during the regular season and then turned into just like Joe Burrow, light in the playoff run. My point is, I think another good point is that Nick Saban handpicked Julian Sayin, or he wouldn't be here right now if Saban didn't retire. And then now he's with Ryan Day, and he has all of these weapons around him. What I tell people is, listen, I am convinced he'll be good and good this year. Will he be great this year? I don't know, but I think he'll be good, and that's good enough with these weapons they have around them in this offensive line. And my question is when? When will he be good? Will he be good opening week against Texas? It's a lot to ask. Will he be good, the big night game between in-state rivals, Ohio State and Ohio University, will be later in the season. When will he be good? How good will he be? But I am convinced he'll be a good starting quarterback for the Buckeyes this year.
Yeah, he's good. This is not, keep in mind, we're not throwing in some guy from Oakwood High School who's, never played a high level of competition. He's just a Cali guy who was on the circuit. Many pundits during that cycle thought he was the best quarterback. I just don't have that much worry about it. Literally, I don't. As far as when he's going to be good, I mean, he just needs to win. That's the beauty of being a quarterback. I'm not a quarterback numbers guy, just personally. I'm more of an eye test, vibe, third down, the feeling I get in my stomach guy.
Yep.
I felt better about Will Howard than Kyle McCord virtually every snap this year. And if people don't agree with that and think I'm biased, I would hesitate. I would be happy to, I don't want to argue it, but I know what it feels like to be confident on 3rd and X and not. And that was not. The fact is, McCord is not a threat to run the football, and Will Howard was. You cannot put into words how much of a big deal that was. And we've talked about the alpha qualities and stuff like that. I was really impressed with Will Howard behind closed doors. I wouldn't say that Julian is quite as gregarious and outgoing as Will, but I will tell you this. I've been covering football now for longer than I've been willing to admit publicly. Howard might be up there in terms of the quarterback you'd want to be at the, fundraiser. He is, first of all, he's bigger than everyone he talks to. So he has that. He's I have a picture of my wife standing with some of the dudes. He and Jack Sawyer look like brothers size-wise.
I still have one of my favorite pictures from that night. It's Will Howard, Troy Smith, and Julian Sand all together. And I titled, I put it on Twitter. I put the present, the past, and the future.
Right after you took that picture, or before, I think they took. I don't know who was first.
I think your wife was the one that drew them over. Then I
didn't want to say that.
I was like, "Hey guys, can I get you guys in here after your beautiful wife drew them in?" You know.
So, so that part of it, I think that really helped Will in terms of his transition, hit the ground running. He is going to walk up to you and introduce himself to you first, kind of guy. Just watch his interview with Gruden. See some of the stuff he said for the Steelers. He's not confidence is not his issue.
Yeah, every press conference this year he'd finished with the "Go Bucks." It was like we were talking to one of the coaches. It was uncanny. It was Ryan Day every week, the official, Tuesday press conference that they broadcast everywhere. Then here in Columbus, they broadcast it live, like on TV and stuff. It's crazy. NFL guys will come and be like, "What's something crazy going on here today?" Like, no, it's just a regular Tuesday. There's this many people. Yeah, largest beat in American sports. So it'd be Ryan Day. Then it would either be Chip Kelly or Jim Knowles that rotate the coordinators. And every week, except for maybe once, it was Will Howard. It was like another one of the coaches coming in there. And he'd finish out with the end of that. Thanks, everybody. Go Bucks. Just leadership off the charts. That is one thing I'm a little bit concerned about. Not that Julian is not going to be a good leader, but like you're replacing the epitome of a great leader who was a grown man. You're a 19-year-old really kid trying to step in and be the leader of this football team, be a leader of men. And it might not be your strong suit. That being said, I don't get the feeling I got with Kyle McCord when we were at a certain function, and he looked like he'd rather be anywhere else in the world. He was, and not just that. That's almost you could be Bill Belichick and rather be somewhere else in the world. But like it was just he almost looked like timid,
visibly uncomfortable
to walk in there like I'm the freaking. Not to be, you don't want to be too cocky, but you want that guy to walk into a event like that, handle himself like Carnell Tate did. Doesn't have to be anything like gregarious. But you don't want to look like a wallflower either. So I don't get that. And I got that from Kyle McCord. He just doesn't have any like charisma. I think Julian has a little bit of charisma, but certainly not on Will's level. He's somewhere in between is what I'm trying to say, Dan Rubin.
Yeah, I would say he's in between, but I would hedge him a little closer to Will in that he's a look you in the eye. Yes, sir. No, sir. Has plenty to say. Was interested in being in a conversation with you. He's just not, Will Howard is like he's the classic American quarterback, like Friday Night Lights, 6'4", crew cut, big smile guy, strong strapping guy. It's just Julian's, like you said, a little more like Timothy Chalamet. By the way, shed no tears for our guy Chalamet. Okay.
By the way, Chalamet is short, and we're talking about how he looks in the face. Yeah, Chalamet is making a lot of money, and you guys know how I feel about that Bob Dylan movie. Man, he knocked that out of the park. He just tried to turn himself into Bob Dylan for like 6 months. Did a good job.
Also, Dave, I think it's fair to say Julian Sand, and I don't know this for a fact, but if you're the quarterback at Ohio State and you look like that, or you're Timothy Chalamet and you look like that, you do not struggle socially, apparently.
Probably not.
So shed no tears for our guy Julian.
Exactly. And not that Will had any problems in that area too. We saw his girlfriend.
He's a pops.
I got to see his mom. I got to meet his mom finally. It was like meeting somebody famous because I'd seen her on TV like all the time through the playoffs. She is the nicest lady in the world. She told me, I think I've said this once on the show before. She's like, we were talking for a while. This is at Pro Day, by the way. And she was like, yeah, Will coming here was the best thing the best decision he's ever made in his life. And I go, worked out pretty well for Ohio State too.
No doubt.
Ohio State going after him was one of the best decisions Ohio State has ever made. All right, before we move on to other things, I mean, check this out. Look at these. I showed you my Ridge wallet, how small that. These are not small. These are Brunt boots. They're fantastic. They look great. If you do any hard labor, these are perfect, but they feel like sneakers, and I'm gonna tell you guys about it and a great deal you can get. Brunt boots, fantastic. And I get compliments on them, man. I get compliments on them. So Brunt has designed the best work boots on this here planet. I'm not exaggerating. Like, they have designed boots that withstand the toughest jobs while feeling as comfortable as your favorite sneakers. Seriously. They also look great. So even like podcasters like me, I can throw them on with jeans and people are like, wow, where'd you get those boots? Brunt. I tell them I can get you a good deal too, and I'm going to get you guys a good deal. These are the most comfortable work boots you will have ever tried, but they also deliver real performance on the job. And Brunt is so confident that these boots will blow you away, they even let you try it on the job risk-free. Brunt also has plenty of other gear for tough jobs, such as weather-resistant jackets, pants, and much more. Brunt didn't just make a durable work boot. They reinvented comfort for the hardest workers out there, and also podcasters. For Father's Day, not only does Brunt have a special discount bundle, but our listeners are getting an additional $10 off by using the code Bucknuts at checkout. So they already have good deals. And then you use code Bucknuts at checkout, and you're going to get an extra $10 off. That's awesome. Just head to bruntworkwear.com, use code Bucknuts, and you're all set. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that our show sent you. Boom. Brunt boots. Look at these things, man. Boom. I feel like Groot. Every time I do anything like that, I feel like Groot. I tell you what, man. Gee, Randy freaking Gradishar, man. That was one of the coolest things when you open up that box of goodies from Ohio State. I wanted to call people over there, but can I get one of those? And they would have hung up the phone on me. A prank caller. No, you cannot get one of those, and you'll like it. So we have a couple of questions in here I want to get to.
I want to address something. Can I address something real quick?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I see a lot of recruiting questions on here, and we will.
I've started a couple of them.
But here's what I think I need you to do. If you are not a premium subscriber, you need to become one, because the dean will be on the show tomorrow, and he's got plenty of content up there today. If you want to follow what happened on the weekend, the dean is all over it. There's stuff on there. Felix Ojo, Xavier Griffin, Aaron Taylor, some other guys. We have an offer going now, 60% off for an annual membership, 60% off. So it's like less than 12 cents a month or a day or something like that. It's not a month. If it was less than 12 cents a month, you should go right now. But you should still go right now and get one. This is usually our best deal of the year, 60% off annual. So you're basically you're getting more than half the year for free. And this is a great time to do it because the visits are fast and furious. This past weekend was incredible. Savion Hyder among them. So if you want to really get Bill skinny, you need to be a premium subscriber.
And we're going to get to a couple of recruiting questions. I've started a couple of them, Dan. If there's any other ones that I missed that you want to get to, you go ahead and star them as well, and we'll get to them. I will say this. If Ohio State didn't win the national championship, people would not have been asking me and you the most about Julian Sand. They'd be like, Ryan Day, what's going on with Ryan Day?
No doubt.
If he loses to Michigan again, is he done? I just still have people ask me about Ryan Day. And at least I'm not getting the dumbest question that in the history of, in my opinion, the history of the world, which is, man, if Ryan Day loses again to Michigan, is he out of a job? He just won the national championship. Yes, that would suck losing to them 5 straight times, but a national championship buys you a lot of time. The other dumb question is, would you have rather beat Michigan last year, not win the national championship, or lose to Michigan and win the national championship? You want to just stare at this person like, is that a serious question? Are you a serious person? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Of course, you're going to win the national championship.
I had a Michigan fan say to me in a slight argument, they told me to live in the present. And I said, we just won the national championship. It's the most recent game. Don't know what you're talking about.
And we're still basking, so you can go fly a kite as we bask. It's a nice way of saying something else, isn't it? It's old school. Bill Kurlick. I mean, I'd heard it before, but go fly a kite is just a nice, it's a polite way to say something that's not polite. All right, let's get to some questions here. But yeah, that would be question numero uno if they didn't do a little something called win the national championship, still basking. All right.
By the way, the hardest run ever and will never be duplicated.
Any updates on the visitors over the weekend? This is from Doug on YouTube. Anything you're hearing, Mr. Rubin? I know we'll hear more tomorrow, but
yeah. Here's one thing I will say. Barring special circumstances, I don't think you're going to see going forward the weekend commitments that you usually do when guys are on campus. The fact is now these guys are getting compensated for their visits. Once Tarvis Alford did the I'm committing and now I'm taking my 5 official visits, and just it throws the entire recruiting process on its heels, or just turns it over. I will say this though, silent commitments do happen. So what'll happen is a guy will come in, he'll say, I'm going to do it, but I need to go get some sun. I'm going to head out to USC and blah, blah, blah. that does happen, but we aren't in the business of letting that information out if we got it anyway, because you want the kid to get his own time, and the teams don't respond well to that. But I don't think you're going to get who's on commitment watch for this weekend, who's going to be so thrilled they just commit on the spot. Also, because the celebration the celebration meme or picture used to be few and far between. Now it is part and parcel of what everybody does. So they're not going to announce on a Sunday when they can get a Wednesday and get the spotlight and send out a graphic, yada, yada. So don't be turned off by the fact that we don't come out of here with commitments. And there were times back in the past where we'd have a big weekend and you get 3 guys locked in by Monday morning. That's just not going to happen anymore. That said, you need to be a premium subscriber to go read. It's fair to say Ohio State made a fantastic impression on several players. I think they moved up for several players. But the names you're going to want to hear about, the Savion Hyder, Xavier Griffin, etc., we'll wait for Bill to kind of give you the skinny. And keep in mind, a lot of these guys are in transit back to where they came from. So Bill's in the process of getting in touch with them. But let's just say that they are recruiting at a very high level. Our last podcast with the Dean and the Poobah, we went over the 7 5-stars that are still recruiting. And they're in the mix for several of them who are this weekend. So I think they're headed for another top 3 class.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, and getting Savion would be awesome, to say the least. The number 1 running back in the country, according to everybody, according to the composite, according to our in-house 24/7 sports rankings. For those who don't know, a young man out of Mineral, Virginia. I'm not sure where Mineral, Virginia is, but that sounds like a cool name. Mineral, Virginia. And I know Bill Kurlick and others that have been reporting about this young man have to be really careful when they're spelling that last name. You got to be really, really careful when you're spelling that last name.
Well, if it spell checks you wrong, you probably got issues.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if it's spell check,
if the other one pops up, you need a break.
Yeah. Unless, like you've been saying, like I hate that the guy the dead guy that we're talking about, like that maybe I would excuse if it auto corrected, but like you'd have some splaining to do. That auto corrected. What do you mean it auto corrected to that? Like what do you? I've been writing how much I hate him and he's the worst person ever. Oh, okay, I got you. You got to be really careful when you're spelling that last name. I want to throw an L in there. Okay, said too much. All right, here we go. Let's get to another one here. We have one from. This is not quite a recruiting question, but Mika's asking about Isaiah West. They do expect him to be healthy. The freshman running back from the pipeline over there at St. Joe's in Philly.
McCord High.
Yeah, and Marv. Yeah. And they got
Jim Knowles.
Maxwell Roy is from there as well, I believe. The defensive
Jim Knowles.
Jim Knowles, yes. Okay, so maybe not the pipeline, but no. Isaiah West, they like him. At least he was here in spring. Obviously, it'd be nice if he was able to go through, but he wasn't like just on the side working when I was over there. He was going through drills and stuff like that for the most part. Not at full speed, was not part of contact drills, but at least he got here and got acclimated, learned the offense. I don't expect he's going to play a lot. Turbo Rogers, we'll see. I mean, we were saying on Friday's show, like hopefully he can be in the mix like as a kick returner. I'd like to see Mylan Graham and Turbo back there as kick returners, see who can get the job done. But I think unless there's injuries, I think we're looking at clearly James Peoples, the starter, CJ Donaldson, the backup, and I think Bo Jackson's going to play a decent amount as the number 3 tailback. So unless there's injuries, probably Isaiah West, Sam Williams-Dixon, and Turbo probably won't play that much.
I can't. You're on point to me.
Yeah, I mean but I do, to answer your question, Mika, I do think that he's going to be healthy. They did say in the spring he's going to be healthy for the starters. So unless he has a setback during summer conditioning, he should be fine. We have Cam St. Pre saying he heard Savion had a great visit and we are on top of his list. That sounds good to me. Here's one. I'll let Dan answer this one. This is from Matt on Facebook. USC with the number 1 class in 2026 so far, but they've got like 28 commits or something like that. He's like, is it too early? I think he means, is it too early to be concerned about the Buckeyes only having 13 commits?
Yes.
What do you think? Yes. It's time to be concerned.
Keep in mind, and we say this every year, when you look at the rankings, there is an aggregate you get credit for more players. So Dave and I tell this all the time. What I always look at is average per recruit, which is the quality. And I think they were 1 or 2 behind LSU at one point. So also I will say, Dave, I'm not as geeked on where you finish in the recruiting rankings. As long as it's top 4 or 5, you're getting what you need for the most part. So no, I would not be concerned about that. And I'd be willing to bet good cash that USC does not finish with the number 1 class.
I would bet that.
I think they are a bit of a rickety operation. You're actually hearing some doubts from, if you follow it at all, some of the big time USC people about Lincoln Riley being the long-term answer there. And yes, they have upped their NIL approach, but the kind of guys that Ohio State is going after and really needs are the type that NIL is almost a given. You know, these guys are not, they're going, yes, they may be going to the highest bidder, but the guys Ohio State are going after are the guys who have a chance to really make the NFL and get paid. You're going for the best of the best. So USC, they're off to a great start. Already lost Xavier Griffin out of the class. So also go look at where the guys are from that have committed. It's California is still a little bit of a further, like for example, Xavier Griffin's from Georgia. He's not considering anything west of the Mississippi anymore. So we'll see. I don't think USC will finish with the number 1 class. My money's on Georgia, actually.
Their future is not bright enough to wear shades. I agree. I don't see them finishing with the number 1 class. I see Ohio State competing for it, but finishing, like you said. Now, their best classes are like when they finish second. They've never finished with the number 1 class. They have several that they would have finished number 1 if you went back and re-ranked them.
Exactly.
2013, 2017, 2021, and something about it.
What matters?
Second this 2025 class as the next one, because it's like every 4 years they finish second, and it's just a great class. So yeah, I think they'll finish second or third or something like that. And Ryan Day and Mark Pantoni and the boys will be cracking champagne and wearing Gooder sunglasses as they celebrate that. Gooder sunglasses. I'm out at the Memorial Tournament yesterday. The guy that runs, well, not Jack, it's Jack's place, but the guy that runs like the day-to-day operations pretty much out there does a great job. Tom was rocking some Gooder sunglasses. So I told him, you're a good man, Tom. I knew you're a good man. You've even grown in stature. So the guy running the Memorial Tournament out there, all decked out with Gooders on. I was rocking my Gooders as well. So listen, why are they good? Yeah, I mean, they start at just $25 a pair. That's good. 1-year warranty. That's good. 30-day free returns. Good. You won't need any of that, but it's still good to have it. Features and key benefits. You know, it's lightweight and comfortable. They're very lightweight. And they don't slip. They don't bend. Very durable. Love them. 100% polarized. Like I said, no slip, no bounce. They have vibrant colors, sleek styles. There's a pair of Gooders for anybody. All right, if you need a new pair of sunglasses, Gooder is giving Bucknuts Morning 5 listeners free shipping. You can go to gooder.com/Bucknuts. Use code Bucknuts for free shipping. Gooder offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and 100% satisfaction. Again, that's gooder.com/Bucknuts. Use code Bucknuts for free shipping. There you go. Yeah, I'll just leave them on the rest of the show. No, I won't do that. All right. Ooh, that's bright. It's getting bright in here. It's a ring light here, man. I was like, geez, calm down. Maybe I should just leave them up for this ring light. I thought it's a little too bright, Dan. It's a little too bright.
Need the light.
Right, one more I want to
you
get
didn't
to
have
here.
the light. If you didn't have the light.
Oh, goodness. All right. So I want to get to this a little bit. Switch gears a little bit. So, like, I've talked about this at length. We talked about it on Friday's show. So, Ohio State, Texas being a noon game is what it is. The contract is the contract. Everybody in the Big Ten's getting filthy richer because of that TV contract. And part of it is Fox can basically do whatever they want, including putting Ohio State at noon pretty much every week. All right. Contract is what it is. They're not willing to, like, play ball with Ohio State here and help their cash cow out. Fine. Guess what? Negotiations for the next contract start in 2029. We're 4 years away. If I'm Ross Buork, I go into that maybe ready to make threats that I wouldn't even follow through with, but I'm making the threats. It's like we're either getting a bigger piece of the pie or there's going to be a stipulation in the contract that we only can play X amount of games at noon per year, not like 6 or whatever it might be, maybe 2, 3, whatever it might be. There needs to be protections in there. Now, you have Clemson and Florida State getting a bigger piece of the pie in the ACC. You're telling me Ohio State shouldn't get a bigger piece of the pie in the Big Ten when they have the best ratings? They are the cash cow of the Big Ten. So Ohio State, Ross Buork, when these next negotiations come up, they need to throw their weight around. If that means making a veil threat, which they would never actually follow through in this, hey, we're going to join Notre Dame and become an independent if you don't acquiesce to some of this stuff. They need to do something. So contract is what it is. They're playing hardball with Ohio State right now. Fine. Keep your powder dry, and then 4 years from now, come out guns a-blazing.
4 years from now, man, I got no idea what's going to go on 4 years from now. Who knows what college football will even look like 4 years from now? Go back 4 years and tell me what it looked like.
Ancient times, I think.
But I do think you've hit upon the key point here, in that as much as a market share as Ohio State had before we've really gone to big business and NIL and stuff like that, it's only increased. And this is why I'll just say, for me, I'm Johnny Bucknuts here. Look, Herb in the back. None of this really bothers me because we just won the national championship. So however we're doing it, it works. Right. Okay. They started a playoff last time. We won it. They started a playoff this time. We won it. Then they're going to change the rules on us to try and not win. Anyway. So in terms of competitive advantage, I'm now convinced that no matter what they do, Ohio State's going to be at the front of the line. So there's two questions at play here. One is the greater good, Dave, the greater good, college football. And the other is, how does it affect Ohio State specifically? I don't think there's any question that as we've gotten more businessy in college football and everyone's kind of, you're paying the players now, all these other vibes about that, they're going to use the leverage next time. That I don't even think that's a variable anymore. We've gone from being kind of like, oh, shucks, we do it different in the Big Ten. We're the high academic, above recruiting. Those days are done. There is none of that anymore. Now, there is kind of the recruiting, the standard to get into Ohio State, Big Ten academically. We've spread that out. I don't feel that's as strong anymore. And it's going to be, whether I think they should do it or not, they're going to do this. All business leverage is being flexed now. Maybe in the past, Ohio State, all the ADs got together, and it was kind of like remember that we had all these discussions, you don't recruit other people's players. There was all these gentlemen's agreements, and we're going to help out the Big Ten. Them days are done. So it's 4 years away, and yes, we don't know what's going to be going on. I'm very confident in this. 4 years from now, Ohio State will be at the top of the food chain still, because they have been, for every year of the last 60 years at least, and they'll have some power to it. Now, what that means in 4 years, what that leverage is, whether that's programming on a hologram that plays in front of your eyes, or I have an AI chip in my brain that's scarlet and gray, we'll see. But I think they will be much more aggressive financially in the next approach.
Yes, and I think Ross Buork, hopefully, and if President Carter's still here, which I hope he is, I think he's doing a good job. I know he's getting up there a little bit in age, but hopefully he's still around in 4 years. I think he will. Hopefully those gentlemen spearhead the idea of Ohio State throwing its weight around. It's one thing I don't think Gene was ever really comfortable doing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There was like that old school.
Yeah.
Get it? That's why people don't trust college football, because these executive and rich guys get into a room, start whispering, and they come out and it's like, this doesn't sound fair. Now here's what I'm saying. I go back to this. It doesn't sound fair, but it usually works in Ohio State's favor. So like when people talk about NIL changing and stuff like that, they don't, before you say that out loud and have people hear it, think about what that means. If you're going to level the playing field, that's not going to help Ohio State. Keep this in mind. We're at the top of the playing field. Here's the level. If you level it, that brings us down. We like it up here. So
yes,
the idea that they're going to change NIL and make it fair and stuff like that, I don't know why Ohio State fans would want that, because we just did it this way. That's, it worked.
Yeah,
And
we're
they
still
just came
basking.
back. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, because one of the reasons we're still basking is because of NIL and because of the portal. And those two things are often intertwined. Like Caleb Downs
Completely.
wanted to come here, but he wouldn't have come here if the NIL wasn't right. So I've said this, nobody plays the portal game and the NIL game combined better than Ohio State. Proofs in the
Right
pudding.
now,
Retaining its own players, not turning over its roster, but getting 6, 7. This year it's more like 10, but some of those guys are like depth pieces on the offensive line. They brought in a kicker. Actually, the kicker was a good get. They brought in some depth pieces like Ty Howard at linebacker. So they got like 10 guys in the portal this year. But last year they only got 6. And people are like, oh, they went and bought a team. They brought in 6 dudes. They just went 6 for 6. It was amazing with Caleb Downs and Quinshawn. Julian was technically a transfer. Will Howard, Kazmarek, and then, of course, Seth McLaughlin. 6 for 6, baby. I guess they technically had 7 with Keenan Nelson, the safety from South Carolina, who I always forget is on the team. I don't even know if he's still on the team, actually.
you did go to St. Joe's also, Dave.
Did he? Oh, there you go. Another St. Joe's product. There you go. So they just do a great job. You're right. If you're an Ohio State fan, you should, even though it's uncomfortable, I get for a lot of people. Some people it's not uncomfortable. Some people I think like it. I don't know. I think some people are uncomfortable with it or don't like it. Maybe uncomfortable is the wrong word. But if you're an Ohio State fan, my advice would be embrace it because nobody does it better than the Buckeyes, and the proof's in the pudding.
Don't like the transfer portal, like lack of commitment, or don't like players getting paid? Which do you think it is?
Yeah, I think people have a problem. I don't think people have a problem with when I hear people complain about NIL, like on message boards, it's usually not. There's always the caveat. I don't have a problem with the players getting paid. They definitely deserve a large piece of the pie. People just want guardrails in. I get that, but if you're an Ohio State fan, why should you care right now? Like,
you have the most money.
There needs to be guardrails. Now I don't talk about that anymore. It's like until Ohio State is not benefiting from this, I'm not going to complain about anything regarding NIL or the portal.
Also, if you want to spend some time, it's comical. Go to these other message boards talking about Ohio State winning the title. There are still teams in the SEC like, oh, they bought the title. What are you standing?
Sure.
Have you literally not moved in 4 years and they're just going off news from 4 years ago? Also, that could be a journalism class in study of a narrative run out of control. Ohio State didn't pay out the most to their players this past year. And if you ask the average college football fan, a dominant majority would say they did. They did not. The money was spent to retain guys who were already here. And even if you use those numbers, they didn't spend the most.
Nope.
They were just really, really, really good at it. They brought in Will Howard. They brought in Quinshawn Judkins. That's still, to this day, maybe the most surprising addition to the team of all time.
Had Travion. I know. It's crazy.
And I wanted him for the Cowboys. And they're like, no, he's coming to the Buckeyes. I thought I was dreaming. And by the way, how'd that work out? So I don't know. Jealousy takes on many forms. And it's usually not truth, as we've seen. So let them be jealous. And
I love it. That's a part of basking is getting on these boards. There's one of our savages on our front row message board. I say that with an endearing tone. Was linked to a thread on the Alabama 24/7 board that was just bitching and complaining about Ohio State and how they could be going on a dynasty. It is so funny. It was basically what Ohio State fans and others were saying about Alabama not too long ago. Just because you hate the king, whoever's the top of college football. Like we hated Alabama, right? Because they were the dynasty, right? Even though Nick Saban, there's really no reason to hate Nick Saban, in my opinion. We probably hated him because he was winning so much. It's just funny. You see, like, the people down south are just, like, apoplectic about it, and it's hilarious to me.
Here's what's going to happen. When history books look back on this particular time, I don't know if anyone likes this, but they're going to lump Michigan and Ohio State together for these championships and talk about all the guys they brought back and how they convinced the veterans to come back. It's the next one coming up now, this first post-COVID title coming up, although I guess you could call ours post-COVID, sort of. That's going to be, the way where it tweaks here. And it's for people who are worried about the money. Do you think the guys giving money to Ohio State now are missing meals to do this? Has anyone mortgaged their house and it's like, you know what? I'm not going to buy the Porsche. I'm going to give it to no, dude. The people that are giving money to Ohio State always had the money, and they have plenty. It's not coming from people who were deciding who were eating ramen instead for a week, like I did in Hilton Head, when you're 19 and you have $5 in your pocket at 1 a.m. and you have a choice, another round or an omelet at the Huddle House served by a pregnant 19-year-old at 3 a.m. That happened. That's a choice. When you're a multi, and you're giving that away, keep in mind, there are guys who want to buy sports teams that can't do that. They can just go give $20 million to their college, and that's the same as paying one guy. You know who supports Arizona State's basketball program? James Harden. Okay,
pretty good guy.
These guys have plenty of money.
Yes,
I mean that's not an issue, and the kids deserve it, man. That part I don't get. That's the part of this. The people who are like, "Oh, he's making so much money." Good. He's getting there. I mean, they're putting their life on the line out there. So I got no issue. Kurt, my guy.
Who lives in Hilton Head?
Yeah.
The one that lives in Hilton Head. I just saw that. That's funny. We got Bucknutters all over. Now, he's not vacationing in Hilton Head. He lives there. That's a boss move right there.
That is. It must be.
Steve Hellwagon and his family go there every year. I don't know if you know that, Kurt, but Steve Hellwagon and his family go down there every year. I think they have like a timeshare or something like that. Or maybe it's not a timeshare. Maybe they just go to the same place. That's pretty cool if you live on Hilton Head.
If you go to the Salty Dog and everyone's got the T-shirt, everyone in Ohio, I think at some point in time has worn a Brew Through or a Salty Dog T-shirt for state residents. If you go to the Salty Dog on a July evening, half the cars in the parking lot got Ohio plates. So they travel en masse.
Yes, we like our Carolina beaches for sure. I'm a big Outer Banks fan. I've been to Hilton Head once. We're big Outer Banks fans. But what's that?
What's the Biddle family go to?
We like Nag's Head on out. We're not going there this year though. Yeah. All right. Well, great stuff. I didn't mean for this to be such a long show, but hey, I'm sure hopefully the listeners enjoy that. Really appreciate you guys. Yeah, this was a massively long show. It was massive. I mean, the content was massive. The length was massive. It was just a lot of massive on the show today. Thanks to Dan Rubin. Thanks to all of you guys. We appreciate it very much. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Go Bucks. Still basking.